G'day guys, welcome back to another episode on my SC24 Chelsea Career Mode series. In this episode, we're going to be playing two games. The first up against Manchester United mid-week, and then it will be Sheffield United, just like it was in real life. And I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on both those games, because just like it has been throughout this entire season, it's been some very big highs and some very big lows. Let's get straight to the Manchester United game because it was absolutely crazy. Drama of the highest order, that is for sure. It all started off in Chelsea's favour. The first 20 minutes of the game, we were in control, we were the better side, and we deserved to get our goals. Marc Cucurella and Malo Gusto penetrating in those wide back positions and getting forward and creating opportunities for us. And it was Conor Gallagher, of course, getting the first one on the score sheet. Someone who I've criticised in previous weeks because I don't think he offers enough going forward, comes up clutch again, getting the first goal of this game. Many minutes later, it then leads to the opportunity where Marc Cucurella is getting into the box and earns himself a penalty. Is it a penalty? Yes or no? Probably not. It's a soft one in my opinion. It's one of those ones where when the VAR looks at it, it's not clear and obvious to be overturned. The referee gives it on the field. It's a soft one, but you got to take it when they're given to you. And Cole Palmer stands up yet again in the dot shot position and puts it into the back of the net. And all the momentum and all the positivity was with us because we had to be beating Manchester United. But then things came crashing down very quickly when Moises Caicedo makes a huge mistake. Making a misplaced pass, Benoit Badiashile is not prepared for it, and it allows Garnacho to run in on goal and just slot it past the keeper. And this is where things just absolutely disintegrated for the Blues. The momentum, the belief, the tactics, everything just got sucked out of us like the Dementors from Harry Potter, if you will. And that just allowed Man United to gain some confidence, gain some momentum, and it allowed Bruno Fernandes to inevitably get the equaliser. And it led to a halftime where it was so frustrating because we started the game so well and then we just threw it away. Going into the halftime break, you think Pochettino's going to galvanise this team and we're going to come back out in the second half and hopefully win this game. But instead, it gets far worse with a beautiful, I must admit, a beautiful outside of the boot, left-footed cross by Antony into the path of Garnacho, and he just uses his head to put it past Petrovic yet again. It was a great goal. Again, these two teams, they're the biggest losers of the Premier League season because they have been pretty atrocious from a consistency basis, but yet they're able to come up with moments of magic, and Antony definitely pulled that off there. There's definitely some criticism you can give to the defense. A couple of weeks ago, Pochettino said in one of his press conferences that our defensive side of our game is definitely quite weak. There are certain players that, when they're going forward, contribute a lot in terms of driving forward and pace and acceleration and all that. But then their defensive work rate is not to that same level, and that's causing us lots of problems. And ever since he's said that, I've paid a lot more attention to who those individuals are in our team that are, being that weakness in our side. And Malo Gusto, I definitely noticed that in this game. Going forward, he's always been electric. He's always offered us something good. But in this situation where Antony's making the run out wide and Garnacho's sprinting into the box, he definitely took his pedal off the gas. He took his foot off the pedal and the gas, and he was not marking him as he should have been, and utilizing his defensive responsibilities and getting the job done. Unfortunately, that led to Man United getting 3-2 in their favour. Now this is where Erik ten Hag, the clown himself, makes his first of many big mistakes in the final moments of the game, because he decides to bring on Mason Mount. Judas himself makes a return to Stamford Bridge, and he was booed, he was criticised, he was bullied, he was everything from the Stamford Bridge crowd, and rightfully so. After denying multiple contract extensions by the new ownership, he decided, I don't want to be a part of this, and jumped ship to one of our rivals, and he was given everything that he deserved by the Stamford Bridge crowd. And I think once he came on, there was just a sense of enthusiasm and energy and anger that the Stamford Bridge crowd directed towards him. And I think the players fed off that. And it just gave us that adrenaline shot straight into the system. And from that 90 minutes onwards, things just went from like mediocre to just crazy. Because it then led to that opportunity where Noni Madueke takes on the defense, he runs into the box, drives into position, and then is taken down by Dalot. And again, like I mentioned earlier, it's a soft penalty. Man United fans definitely have something to be aggrieved by. It's one of those ones where, because it's given and it's not clear and obvious, VAR they can't intervene. And I can understand why you'd be upset by the referee's on-field decision, but it doesn't matter. And Noni Madueke earns the penalty. And then I see from some people's phone recordings from inside the stadium that he's the one that tries to take the penalty to get ourselves level, which I still understand why this hasn't been sorted out in the dressing room. Cole Palmer, he is the man. He is the man to deliver from the dot shot position. He stands up yet again after Madueke is pulled aside by his teammates, and Cole Palmer delivers. And from that moment, things go absolutely crazy at Stamford Bridge, and I was just so grateful that we were able to get level, because I just did not want to see us lose to Manchester United yet again this season. And because there was still 2 minutes left on the clock, Pochettino communicates that to his teammates. There's still time. Let's try and push on for a winner. And Enzo Fernandez makes that decisive tackle and interception, pushes the players forward. That's where we make everyone's darting forward, making that run into the box. It then leads to Kani Chukwuemeka making a shot, and it just whizzes past the goalkeeper. It goes out for a corner. Enzo Fernandez, the man that started the move, then gets into that position, sees Cole Palmer is all by his lonesome in the attacking third, and honestly, it's absolutely atrocious defending by Manchester United. They just allow him that space. Fernandez drives it into him, and Palmer slots it in for a 4-3 victory. It was unbelievable because, as you guys know, I've been doing my instant match reactions, and I was ready. I already got I already knew what I was going to say. It was definitely going to be very critical of the tactics and the intensity and the drive, going forward. And then afterwards, once all that craziness happened, it ended up being an emotional dump because I was in such disbelief of the incredible comeback victory that it was for the Chelsea Blues. In saying that though, there was definitely lots to criticise. It was not a great performance overall. But because we were able to get that victory in such dramatic fashion, I was hoping that these players would be able to utilise that momentum and carry it forward into the subsequent games, because I won't lie, when we did win that game, for the rest of that day, I went off to work after watching it, and I was just so happy. I was just filled with so much joy, and that's what happens when your team wins. And I was really in such positive spirits. I thought, this is it. This is the good feeling that we want, not only inside Stamford Bridge, but within the community, online and everywhere, so that we can build that relationship with the players and, of course, Pochettino. But then, we go away to Sheffield United, and it's a harsh smash back to reality because Pochettino has failed yet again, as he did many times throughout that Man United game, and he has done many times throughout this season. He has failed miserably to get the best out of this squad. The players that were on that pitch did not play very good football, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It does not compute in my brain. How does Pochettino have players in this squad that are playing international level football? These are no mugs. These are guys that are some of the best footballers on the planet, playing for their country. They've come to the Chelsea Football Club, and yes, I know they're young. Yes, I know it's a new team that's been assembled. And yes, you could give some criticism to the ownership and how they had this scattergun approach and how all these players have come in. But it's been 9 months, I think, since Pochettino's come into the job, and he is, again, not got any distinct style of play and movement with these players where you can see this is a clear plan and it's all coming together. And yes, sometimes you can get the tactics wrong and maybe you don't get a bit of luck, like we definitely got in that United game. We got lots of luck. But sometimes you don't always get that throughout the season. But you look at clubs like Tottenham with Ange Postecoglou and Aston Villa with Unai Emery. Those are teams that do not have, a world-class squad, but they have had their manager come in and put a stamp on the team and have just able to reinvigorate that squad and made them drive on towards top 4 success, which they're both pushing for towards the end of this season. And you have to give the managers a lot of credit, especially when you look at the previous managers that had that same team and were not doing a whole lot with it. And Mauricio Pochettino has had all this time and he has still not improved any of the individuals. And you could say Cole Palmer has improved a lot since the beginning of the season, but I don't give any credit to Pochettino at all for Cole Palmer's heroics this season, because he came through the Man City Academy and was taught under Pep Guardiola. And he has the mentality and the capacity to be a top level player. So I don't give Pochettino credit for getting the best out of Cole Palmer, because I think he was always going to be this bloody good, regardless of who he played for. But you look at players like Mudryk or Badiashile or Marc Cucurella or even Disasi. There's so many players in this team that Pochettino has just not got the best out of. And as a result, we have failed time and time again. And I'm sorry, when we dropped points at home to Burnley, it was unacceptable. When we lost to Wolves at Stamford Bridge, that was unacceptable. And now that we're dropping points again to last place, relegation side Sheffield United, I'm sorry, it just bewilders me that we're in this situation, and as a fan base, we just have to accept it. Because from everything that I've seen that's come from the social media interaction from the Chelsea Football Club, they seem like they're backing Pochettino. And to me, that is a sign that the ownership have no standards or accountability, and they're just allowing the club to descend into mediocrity. And I think the coaching staff know that. And I think that's why Pochettino is very content in his post-match press conferences to say, we're learning. It's a process. It's a long-term project. We need time to develop all this stuff. I'm sorry. You've been given 9 months and you still have not figured out the best way to get, top performances from these players. And in my opinion, that is unacceptable. And Pochettino has to take accountability for it, because the players, yes, they're young, yes, they're inexperienced, yes, they make mistakes. But in my opinion, that mindset that is needed at an elite football club is given and is imbued by the manager. And when Pochettino comes out post-match against Sheffield United and says they lack the maturity and the drive to play against these teams that are so-called weaker than us, and we're not able to play every 3 days or so, it's your job as the manager to make sure that the players are on side and working towards that style of play in order to be an elite level football club, just like we were under Roman Abramovich for all those years. And to me, I'm just so disappointed that we have fallen so quickly since the new ownership has come through, and it's disappointing to say the least. As we progress towards the end of this season, getting 3 points in each subsequent game is of top priority, because we've already dropped points to Burnley, we've dropped points to Sheffield United. We cannot afford to not be getting maximum points for the rest of this season if we want to be getting European football. And we not only need it for our finances, but we need it for the enthusiasm behind the club, and we need it if we're going to trust Mauricio Pochettino on this long-term project. And so far, he has not delivered enough for me to trust him. And unfortunately, I think we're stuck with him because the ownership do not show any signs of sacking this man. So I feel very melancholy supporting this team right now, because it's just wholly unacceptable to be where we are in this current state. But hopefully things can get turned around. But how many times have I said it? Where I've tried to be optimistic and things just go from bad to worse. It's always 1 step forward and 2 steps back with the Chelsea Football Club as we strive towards greatness like we did under the Roman Abramovich era. Thanks so much for watching this episode. If you've enjoyed it, smash that like button, all the good stuff. Make sure you're subscribed for the next episode where we're going to be talking more about Chelsea as we go straight towards the finish line. Thanks so much for watching. Come on, you Blues.